Hello and welcome to another battle report from the Legion Wargaming. We thought we would give the Astra Militarum one more chance to knock the Ravens from their perch. Do Ravens perch? Who really cares? The important thing is we've got a battle on our hands, and the battle will be throughout this ruined Imperial sector. The Ravens are fielding a Talon Strike Force, so they've chosen the mission. It is contact lost. It's hammer and anvil deployment, and the battle today will be 1,500 points per side. The battlefield is a standard 6x4, and it is bounded by the bunker complex on one side and an Imperial Guard outpost on the other. And the terrain on the field is ruined administratum buildings, a lot of line of sight blocking terrain, and with hammer and anvil deployment we will be playing down the length of the table. Objectives already been placed. We have Objective 1, Objective 3 in the centre there, and Objective 5 in that ruined building over there. The Astra Militarum, who will be deploying down this end, have placed their objectives 2, 6 over there in the large ruined building, and 4 just to the rear of this one. Let's take a look at the armies. This 1,500 point Raven Guard list is a battle-forged Talon Strike Force. We thought we'd give some of the formations from the Cunning supplement a go, specifically the Raven Guard ones. So, the primary detachment is a Pinion Battle Demi Company, which consists of a chaplain with his jump pack and 3 squads of tactical marines, one with a flamer, one with a melter and a combi melter on the sergeant, and they are in a rhino, and one with a missile launcher. We also have an assault squad with 2 flamers and a devastator squad with 4 missile launchers, who will hopefully be making use of the ability that the scouts give you to spot for them and ignore cover. We've got 2 squads of scouts in this Pinion, all with camo cloaks and sniper rifles, and the sergeant in this squad is a veteran sergeant carrying the Raven Guard Relic Nihilus, which is an AP3 Armour Bane sniper rifle. Then as the auxiliary choice we have got a Shadow Force, another Raven Guard specific formation, although I think other chapters can use them, from the Cunning supplement, and we have a captain with a relic blade, artificer armour and a jump pack, and he has brought along a squad of 10 Vanguard veterans with jump packs and lightning claws, and they also have a squad of Stern Guard veterans with 3 combi melters, and they are in a rhino, and to finish the formation off, a land speeder with a heavy flamer and a multi-melter. And this formation gives everything in it: scout, acute senses, move through cover, and also allows them to reroll their run distances or move an extra 6 inches when they move flat out. So, as this is a Talon Strike Force from the Cunning supplement, it has allowed the Raven Guard to reroll their dice for choosing the scenario and table sides and who deploys first. So they will be deploying first and going first, and they have chosen contact loss because they won the dice rolls. The full detachments, we have our core and our auxiliary, allows the Raven Guard also to roll for reserves on turn 1, and they come in on a 4+, and it also allows them to choose whether to pass or fail morale checks, which is something from a couple of editions ago in Codex Space Marines, I think, that Space Marines used to be able to do, so we'll see if that has any use. Let's see what the Astra Militarum have brought along. This 1500 point Imperial Guard list is a combined arms detachment, and the Guard have decided that the solution to clearing the sneaky Ravens out of the sector is to flood it with bodies, by the looks of things. So they have brought along Company Command Squad with a las cannon, a Vox and a Master of Ordnance, and they have a Chimera with a hull mounted heavy flamer. And the first troop's choice is a platoon of guardsmen. Platoon Command Squad with 2 flamers, heavy flamer and a Vox, and this lieutenant is commanding 2 squads of Imperial Guard infantry, each with a Vox, 2 special weapons squads, each with 3 plasma guns, and 3 heavy support squads, 2 of them with 3 las cannons and 1 with 3 auto cannons. And the second troop's choice is another Guard platoon. This one is all infantry squads. So we have got the platoon command squad with 3 melter guns and a Vox, and we have 4 squads of Imperial Guardsmen. 2 of them have Voxes because they're going to combine, and they've brought along a couple of priests to keep them honest. In elites, we have a squad of Militarum Tempestus Scions. They have 3 plasma guns and the sergeant has a power fist, and they are flying in a Vendetta with 3 twin-link las cannons as a fast attack choice. And the Guard have bought 2 more fast attack choices. They have bought their biking Rough Riders. So these are converted to ride bikes, but they use all the rules for Rough Riders. So we have a Guard army that may have a bit of combat punch, but if nothing else, it certainly will fill the table. Moving on to deployment. End of deployment, and the Imperial Guard really have infested these buildings in their deployment zone. They have got their large, fearless combined squad of Guard with a platoon command squad, and then in this building they have a squad of las cannons and a squad of auto cannons on the ground floor. They also have some Rough Riders in case anyone gets too close. The Colonel is inside his Chimera, and he's obviously worried about the Raven Guard turning up and targeting him because he has ordered one of the smaller squads of guardsmen to patrol around his command vehicle. The large administratum building here is full of Imperial Guardsmen. They have the las cannon teams on the roof. On the ground floor they have an infantry squad and the Rough Riders in reserve, and then they have the platoon command squad on the middle floors and both of their plasma special weapons squads, one on the first floor and the other on the ground floor, and then their other large combined squad with their priest is looking to move through this building and seize that objective. So the Guard really have filled their deployment zone. In contrast, the Raven Guard have left quite a lot off the table. They've deployed their Devastators on the top floor of this ruined building, a tactical squad on objective 5, and that tactical squad in their Rhino with melters ready to move forwards. Tactical squad with a missile launcher has a good field of fire from this building, and the assault squad ready to leap forward as well. The scouts have infiltrated this squad onto objective 3, and this squad here, they have the veteran sergeant with Nihilus, and he will also spot for the Devastators. I think ignores cover will be quite useful here. The entire Raven Guard Shadow Force is in reserve, as are the Militarum Tempestus Scions in their Vendetta for the Astra Militarum. We will roll now for seize the initiative. If the Guard fail to seize it, we will be back for Raven Guard turn 1. Beginning of Raven Guard turn 1, the Astra Militarum have failed to seize the initiative, so the Ravens will be going first, and they've just rolled up their objectives. We're a bit uncertain about the number of objectives they generate on their first turn. it says that they get 1 at the start of their first turn, and then further down it says at the start of each player's turn they get 1 for each objective that they're holding. Well, the Raven Guard are currently holding objectives 1, 3 and 5. So what we've decided to do is give them the 1 that they start with and another 3, 1 for each objective. So they have drawn secure objective 6, which is the one over here just in front of the guard line, twice, and they drew secure objective 3 twice. So we will see how they get on. We have some reserves to roll for, thanks to the Talon Strike Force. So we'll move into Raven Guard, turn 1, movement phase. End of Raven Guard turn 1 movement phase, and unfortunately only the Stern Guard came on from the Shadow Force, and despite a reroll from Acute Senses, they were adamant that they were coming on from this table edge, so they could not come over and try and make a run at objective 6. The rest of the Raven Guard moved up. This Rhino, again we measured, but he could not get up to objective 6, so he's just moved up to take some cover behind this building. There's a lot of heavy weapons bristling out of these buildings, so I'm not quite sure how long that Rhino is going to last. These tactical marines just ran around the corner, take some shelter behind the barricade. They're still holding objective 5 along with the scouts. The assault marines jumped up, passing all their dangerous terrain tests. Maybe their flamers will come in handy against these guys. So the Stern Guard came on, bailed out of their Rhino and into these ruins. They're going to give fire. They've got plenty of good targets. And we'll see how the Raven Guard get on in their first shooting phase. Raven Guard, turn 1. End of Raven Guard shooting phase, turn 1, and it's been quite effective despite the Ravens not having a great amount on the table. This tactical squad, along with the scouts in the centre, fired on the large combined squad of guard, managed to take out 4 of them, but with the priests they are fearless. The Stern Guard decided to go for an easy first blood point. Seeing the Rough Riders in the ruins, they unleashed a volley of dragon fire bolts, ignores cover against them, and shot them all down. So they did get first blood. The scouts in the far building opened fire on the plasma gun team on the middle floor, but did not have any effect. But the veteran sergeant spotted the las cannon teams on the roof of that building for the Devastators, and a volley of crack missiles blew them all to pieces. So it's a very effective combination from the scouts and the Devastators there. With no assaults, we will see what objectives the Raven Guard managed to achieve at the end of their first turn. End of Raven Guard turn 1, and they managed to achieve securing objective 3 twice, and they also get a point for first blood thanks to the Stern Guard. Unfortunately, the super sneaky Shadow Force have decided that they're not interested in coming on that side of the battlefield at the moment, so they failed to secure objective 6. Bringing the score at the end of the first Raven Guard turn to 3 points to the Raven Guard, nothing yet to the Astra Militarum going in to their first turn. Objectives at the start of Astra Militarum turn 1, and they have drawn Ascendancy, which should be very easy for them to achieve. They have drawn Hungry for Glory. It's doable. Stern Guard have a sergeant down this end, and they have drawn Kingslayer. And the Raven Guard Warlord is not yet on the table, so they won't be able to achieve that this turn, but maybe they'll keep it. Let's see what they do in their first movement phase. End of Astra Militarum, movement phase turn 1, and a lot of the Guard are understandably reluctant to leave the excellent cover that they have. The Guardsmen in the central building here, platoon command squad, infantry squad and 2 plasma gun squads have held position. They do have a good field of fire from where they are. The priests on the other hand are spoiling for a fight, and this one over here has led his large squad forward to claim objective 6, and the Rough Riders have moved round, seeing if they can line up for a charge across the table. And the priest on this side has ordered his guardsmen to move forwards to tackle the Raven Guard assault marines that have taken up position in this building. This Imperial Guard Lieutenant is hungry for glory. He's got some melter guns in his squad as well, so he might be able to take down some Stern Guard and charge in, issue a challenge and earn the Guardsman a point. Moving in to Astra Militarum, turn 1, shooting phase. End of the Astra Militarum's first shooting phase, and it has been a strange one. The priest, over on the Guard left flank, ordered his men to pour a volley of las fire into the assault marines, but unfortunately only one fell. The lieutenant ordered his melter gunners to open up on the Stern Guard, and they managed to melt 2 space marines, and he is preparing for a charge. The las cannons in this building and the auto cannons opened fire on the Rhino in the centre of the Raven Guard lines, and they managed to knock 2 hull points off and stun it. So quite a good result there. The award for the most incompetent volley of fire must go to the Imperial Guard plasma gun team on the middle floor of this Administratum building. They raised their plasma guns to shoot at the Rhino. 2 of the Guardsmen melted themselves, and the remaining 4 decided that they'd better fall back because of that. And over on the far right flank, the priest has told his Guardsmen to run forwards through the building towards the Space Marine lines. End of Astra Militarum, turn 1, shooting phase, and we have an assault going in to their first assault phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 1, assault phase, and they haven't done very well. They charged at the Stern Guard, who shot down 1 on Overwatch, and then rolled snake eyes, so charging through cover -2, so they charged 0. So no hungry for glory for you, Lieutenant, unfortunately. Let's see what objectives the Guard managed to achieve during their extremely strange turn. End of Astra Militarum, turn 1, and they managed to achieve ascendancy, so holding objectives 2, 4 and 6, and they got 2 points for that. Unfortunately they failed to achieve hungry for glory, and they could not achieve Kingslayer yet, bringing the score at the end of the Astra Militarum's first turn to 3 points to the Raven Guard and 2 to the Astra Militarum. Coming into Raven Guard, turn 2. Beginning of Raven Guard, turn 2, and they discarded one of their secure objective 6s at the end of their last turn. They've drawn another 2 objectives. Since they are still holding 3 objectives, they get 3 objectives in total, so they still have secure objective 6, and they have drawn secure objective 1 and hold the line. So quite a fortunate draw for the Raven Guard. Going in to their second movement phase. I wonder where this Shadow Force has got to. End of Raven Guard movement phase, turn 2, and the Ravens over on this side of the table have held position. They have good firing positions from where they are onto the guardsmen in the buildings. The Rhino in the centre is stunned, can't go anywhere, and the scouts in the centre are likewise happy sitting on objective 3 with good lines of fire. This tactical squad is securing objective 1 and searching for targets with their missile launcher. The assault marines have leapt from this building with their flamers ready. Unfortunately, one of them obviously crashed into the parapet. He took himself out. The Stern Guard are offended by the Imperial Guard Lieutenant's temerity in coming at them, waving his fist, so they are going to take him out. And at least some of the Shadow Force has turned up. The captain and one squad of Vanguard with lightning claws have come on from this table edge again, despite a reroll. They really don't seem to want to go into... They don't want to come down from these mountains over there. They're obviously coming from this direction. Anyway, going in to Raven Guard, shooting phase, turn 2. End of Raven Guard, shooting phase, turn 2, and the Devastators were not as effective as they were the previous turn. The scouts spotted for them again, but they only managed to take out one of the 3 las cannon teams on the first floor of this building. The scouts themselves, both squads, fired very, very poorly. Neither one of them did any damage at all, and neither did this tactical squad or the tactical squad holding objective 1. Shaping up to be a bit of a disastrous turn for the Raven Guard. Fortunately, the assault marines used their flamers and a frag grenade to take out lots and lots of this squad of guard, including the priest. And as he went down in flames, the guardsmen asked themselves, why were we listening to him in the first place? And they have decided that they'd better fall back now. And the Stern Guard gunned down the lieutenant and his Vox operator, and the last 2 melter gun carrying members of his squad are falling back as well. The chaplain and the Shadow Strike Vanguard have run into this ruined building. So, a mixed phase for the Ravens. I think there is an assault. Moving on to Raven Guard, turn 2, assault phase. End of Raven Guard, turn 2, assault phase, and the assault marines ploughed into the guardsmen who were falling back. Unfortunately, they failed to regroup and so were wiped out. Let's see what objectives the Raven Guard managed to achieve during their second turn. Objectives at the end of Raven Guard turn 2, and they managed to achieve secure objective 1 with this tactical squad, but they did not manage to achieve hold the line. This is a hammer and anvil deployment, and you have to be within 12 inches of your own table edge. So they failed to achieve that, and they also failed to secure objective 6 again. So they only score 1 point during their second turn, bringing the score to 4 points to the Raven Guard and 2 points to the Astra Militarum, going in to Astra Militarum turn 2. Beginning of Astra Militarum second turn, and their objectives have not been a particularly kind draw for them. They have to secure objective 5, and they have to get behind the Raven Guard lines, and they had to keep hungry for glory, although their lieutenant failed to achieve it so spectacularly. I think there's a Militarum Tempestus Scions on the way, going in to Astra Militarum turn 2, movement phase. End of Astra Militarum turn 2, movement phase, and the Guard look like they have rallied. The plasma gun squad that embarrassed itself has rallied, as have the melter guns from the platoon command squad. They can put some snapshots into the Vanguard veterans. The Imperial Guard line has been further bolstered by the arrival of the Tempestus Scions in their vendetta, and they want to clear out the Space Marines from behind the Imperial Guard line. The Colonel has also ordered his escort squad to move back and deal with these Space Marines. The heavy weapon squads in this building are desperately sighting their weapons on the assault Marines coming straight for them, and once again the squads occupying this large administratum building have held position. They have good fields of fire. They need to see if they can knock out some of the Raven Guard in the centre of the table. The priest has ordered his large squad of guard to continue to advance through this ruin, to bring their huge amount of lasgun fire into range, and the Rough Riders have decided that they can take on the Raven Guard scouts. They've moved forward, eyeing up a charge, going in to Astra Militarum shooting phase. Turn 2. End of Astra Militarum, turn 2 shooting phase, and the Guard have had an excellent phase, although it took the fire of the Vendetta, the Scions, the Imperial Guard squad, the command squad firing from the top hatch of the Chimera, the Vanguard veterans and the chaplain all went down. So very good shooting from the guardsmen there. The auto cannons also opened up on the assault Marines and reduced them to one lone Marine with a flamer. The large guard squad, still led by their priest, opened up at long range on the tactical squads sheltering behind these barricades, managed to take down 3 of them with some very accurate lasgun fire. All in all, a very, very good phase for the Imperial Guardsmen. We have one assault, and moving in to the assault phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 2 assault phase, and the Rough Riders ploughed into the scouts, taking no casualties from Overwatch and taking out 4 of the scouts on their charge. The last remaining scout fought back and shot down 1 Viking Rough Rider with his bolt pistol, but he lost the combat badly. He has held morale, so he is still contesting Objective 3, but another relatively good phase for the Astra Militarum. Let's see how they got on with their turn 2 objectives. Objectives at the end of Astra Militarum's second turn, and they haven't achieved any. They could not get behind enemy lines, they could not secure Objective 5, and the Viking Rough Riding Sergeant forgot to issue a challenge, so they missed out on Hungry for Glory as well, and that is unfortunate for them. So the score at the end of their second turn remains 4 points to the Raven Guard and 2 to the Astra Militarum, coming in to Raven Guard turn 3. Beginning of Raven Guard turn 3, and I think that their High Command are trying to tell them something. Their objectives are Ascendancy, Supremacy and Domination. I get the impression that they want them to take control of the battlefield. Let's see if they can do it. And where is that Shadow Captain? End of Raven Guard turn 3 movement phase, and the Shadow Captain has finally arrived, leaping onto the roof of this building from this side of the table. The land speeder, and the last element of the Shadow Force, has also come on with him, and the Raven Guard are trying to obey their orders. They are trying to clear these heavy weapon teams off of this objective, and these tactical Marines are coming hopefully to support the scout to try and drive the Rough Riders off of the objective in the centre, which will give the Raven Guard objective over here. and number 1 down here, and in theory that one and that one, they don't have much chance really of getting the one in either of these two large buildings. They are infested with Imperial Guardsmen, but if they can get these 4, that will give them both ascendancy and supremacy. Let's see how they get on in their shooting phase. End of Raven Guard turn 3 shooting phase, and this building was absolutely pelted with fire from the lone surviving assault marine with his flamer, the land speeder, the stern guard from underneath, the rhino with its tactical squad inside, this tactical squad's missile launcher, and the devastators who were spotted for by the scouts again, and the autocannon teams were cut down. But there is one Imperial Guard las cannon team with 1 wound left, but they have held morale and they are contesting objective 2. So the Raven Guard won't be able to get supremacy, but if these tactical marines can get in and help the scouts, they will still be able to get ascendancy. Let's see if these tactical marines can make their charge. Going into Raven Guard assault phase turn 3. End of Raven Guard turn 3 assault phase, and the tactical marines in the centre did make their charge in to help the lone scout fighting off the Imperial Guard bikers, but there were no casualties caused by either side, so that objective remains contested, meaning at the end of the Raven Guard turn they failed to secure ascendancy, supremacy and domination, so they score no points. So welcome relief for the Guardsmen. The score remains Raven Guard 4, Astra Militarum 2, going in to the Astra Militarum's third turn. Beginning of Astra Militarum turn 3, and as they now only hold 2 objectives, they have had to keep secure objective 5 and hungry for glory. So not ideal for them, but they've got a lot of guns on the table. Let's see what they do in their third turn. End of Astra Militarum movement phase turn 3, and now that the Shadow Captain has shown himself, the Guard have come streaming through to try and take him down. The Tempesta Scions think that they can take out another squad, a vanguard, like they did the previous one, and the rest of the Guardsmen are just going to drown this building in las fire. The 2 remaining Guardsmen with melter guns have crept round, and they have got their eyes fixed on the land speeder, and the priest has led his combined squad out of these ruins, and they are going to try and save the Viking Rough Riders. So the Guard look like they're in a very good position. There's a lot of fire to put down. Let's see how effective it is. Going in to Astra Militarum turn 3 shooting phase. End of Astra Militarum turn 3 shooting phase, and they threw everything they had into the Shadow Captain and his Vanguard bodyguard. And sadly all of the Vanguard went down, although they made a huge amount of armour and cover saves. They were targeted by the Scions, the Vendetta, all of the Guard with their plasma guns, many las gun shots. All the Vanguard went down, but the Captain is still untouched. The 2 melter gunners all the way over here both missed the land speeder with their melter guns. So a huge amount of firepower, some good saves from the Captain and his Vanguard, but That is another expensive squad, all gunned down by the guardsmen. We have an assault to go in, so moving on to Astra Militarum, turn 3, assault phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 3, assault phase, and the scout and the one tactical marine each took down a biking rough rider. The sergeant fought ineffectually against an Imperial Guard sergeant who remembered to issue a challenge, earning the Guard a point for Hungry for Glory. But then the massive weight of attacks dragged down all of the Marines, leaving the Guard in possession of Objective 3. So the Guard get 1 point in their third turn, bringing the score to 4 points to the Raven Guard and 3 points to the Astra Militarum, coming in to Raven Guard, turn 4. Beginning of Raven Guard turn 4, and they are still holding ascendancy and supremacy, and they are determined to achieve them. In a low scoring game like this, that really will be the difference between victory and defeat. Moving into Raven Guard turn 4, movement phase. End of Raven Guard turn 4, movement phase, and they need to achieve their objectives by driving the massive group of Guard and their priest away from Objective 3. So the tactical marines have driven back in their Rhino, they've disembarked at last, and they're going to try and take down as many guardsmen as possible, supported by their Rhino, this tactical squad, the remaining scout snipers, and the Devastator squad. Meanwhile, deep inside the Astra Militarum line, the land speeder with its heavy flamer and the last remaining assault marine with his flamer have decided they need to thin the ranks of guardsmen that are pouring through these buildings, so they're going to burn them out. And the Stern Guard have moved up, ready to take out the heroic Imperial Guard las cannon crewman and seize Objective 2. The captain, furious at the death of his Vanguard veterans, has decided that the Tempestus Scions are going to pay with their lives. He's going to take them down with his relic blade. And lastly, the Rhino wants to gun down these 2 last guardsmen from the platoon command squad, who are just a bit of a nuisance down this end. So we've got a lot to do in this turn if the Raven Guard are to achieve their objectives. We need some good phases. Can they do it? Going in to Raven Guard, turn 4, shooting phase. End of Raven Guard, shooting phase, turn 4, and they've done what was asked of them. The land speeder and the last assault marine burned down that entire squad of guardsmen, and the Stern Guard took out the last las cannon crewman and have seized Objective 2. The Rhino unfortunately missed with both of its Stormbolter shots, but importantly, fire from this tactical squad, the Devastators, the Scouts, and this tactical squad and their Rhino has killed the remaining Rough Riders and, crucially, killed enough guardsmen to put them more than 3 inches away from Objective 3, so they are now holding that. This guard unit is still fearless, but they are no longer within 3 inches of Objective 3. So they did everything that was asked of them this turn, the Raven Guard, and the captain is looking forward to dealing with these Scions going into Raven Guard turn 4 assault phase. End of Raven Guard turn 4 assault phase, and as the captain leapt at the Scions. His iron halo deflected a plasma shot. The Tempestus Sergeant stepped forward with his power fist, bellowing a challenge, and the captain just landed on him and crushed him before he could say any more. And the relic blade cut down all 4 of the remaining Scions. Very satisfying for the Shadow Captain to finally make his presence known in that way. Let's see what objectives the Raven Guard achieved during their 4th turn. I think it's been a good one for them. End of Raven Guard turn 4, and with a heroic effort they did manage to achieve both ascendancy and supremacy. They control 4 objectives and the Guard only control 1 at the current time. However, their efforts were not particularly well rewarded, as they only got a point each for ascendancy and supremacy, bringing the score at the end of their 4th turn to 6 points to the Raven Guard and 3 to the Astra Militarum, going into Astra Militarum turn 4. Beginning of Astra Militarum turn 4, and fortunately for them, they discarded secure objective 5 at the end of their last turn. Since they only hold 1 objective now, they generated a new one, and it happened to be secure objective 4, which is the only objective that the Guard are still holding. So a fortunate result for them. Going in to Astra Militarum turn 4 movement phase. End of Astra Militarum movement phase in their 4th turn, and I think it's safe to say they want this Shadow Captain dead. They've moved to surround him. All the guardsmen come to this side of the ruined building, and they're all targeting him, along with the Vendetta with its 3 twin-linked las cannons. These Guard with melter guns are still desperately trying to take down the land speeder, but most of the Guard have only the captain in mind. The priest is leading his squad into this tactical squad. They want to assault them. He's a real rabble-rouser, this one, and he wants to tear the Marines apart. And the Colonel is still cowering in his Chimera, putting out the odd las cannon shot from his team, but more importantly issuing orders to all of these guardsmen to take out the Shadow Captain. Can they do it in their 4th shooting phase? End of Astra Militarum turn 4 shooting phase, and the guardsmen, through weight of fire and a lot of plasma, did manage to shoot down the Shadow Captain. It did take 2 plasma gun squads and a full infantry squad and the command squad firing out of their Chimera to finally take him down. That did free up the Vendetta to combine its fire with the 2 remaining melter gun guardsmen, and together they took out the jinking land speeder. But the Guard are very, very happy at the demise of the Shadow Captain, because it also gets them a point for slay the Warlord. And the priest has ordered his men not to fire but to fix bayonets as he commands them to assault the tactical squad in turn 4 assault phase for the guardsmen. End of Astra Militarum assault phase turn 4, and the priest was singing his war hymn, allowing all the guardsmen to re-roll to wound as well as to hit, because he is zealot as well. And although the tactical marines took out a couple of guardsmen, they were torn apart. The priest certainly can whip the guardsmen up to be pretty effective in assault. Still, they've only consolidated an inch, and I think witnessing that probably has not pleased the Raven Guard Devastators very much. Let's see what objectives the Astra Militarum achieved during their 4th turn. Astra Militarum objectives at the end of their 4th turn, and they've done quite well. They secured objective 4 that they were holding. They've been holding that for the whole game. And they got Slay the Warlord because they shot down the valiant Shadow Captain, bringing the score at the end of Astra Militarum turn 4 to 6 points to the Raven Guard, 5 points to the Astra Militarum. Looks like this one is going to go right down to the wire, going in to Raven Guard turn 5. Beginning of Raven Guard turn 5, and as they're currently holding 3 objectives, they have drawn 3 new cards, and it's been a good draw for them. They have drawn secure objective 2, which the Stern Guard are currently holding. They have drawn secure objective 5, which the scouts with their veteran sergeant have been sat on since the start of the game, and they've also drawn Hungry for Glory. Not quite sure that one is going to happen, but let's see. Going in to Raven Guard movement phase turn 5. End of Raven Guard movement phase turn 5, and the last Assault Marine with his Flamer and the Rhino really are fed up with these 2 guardsmen with their melter guns and really want to take them out now. Speaking of melter guns, the Stern Guard have not yet used their combi melters. So they've walked along the parapet, and they may as well have a crack at the Colonel's Chimera that he has been hiding in for the whole game. And that's about the entire Raven Guard presence now up this end of the table. The rest of the Raven Guard have held their positions. They're sitting on the objectives that they need to be holding, so they're going to train all of their guns on the priest and his murderous squad of Imperial Guard infantrymen. Going into Raven Guard shooting phase, turn 5. End of Raven Guard turn 5 shooting phase, and the priest and his squad absorbed a lot of fire. They lost 5 guardsmen, I think, but quite disappointing given that the amount of units there were firing at them. And of course they're fearless, so they're hanging around next to objective 3. The Stern Guard managed to take a whole point and stun the Colonel's Chimera with their combi melters. And the best news is that the Assault Marine fried the last 2 melter gun carrying guardsmen with his Flamer. So with no assaults, the Raven Guard at the end of their turn managed to secure objective 2, and they managed to secure objective 5, giving them 2 points for the turn and taking the score to 8 points to the Raven Guard, 5 to the Astra Militarum, going into Astra Militarum turn 5. Beginning of Astra Militarum turn 5, and as they're currently holding 2 objectives, they generated 2 more objective cards. First was secure objective 1 over here by these tactical marines, so I think that's out of the question. But they've been lucky again, and they have drawn secure objective 4, so that will be another point for them. Going in to their turn 5 movement phase. End of Astra Militarum movement phase turn 5, and this priest will not give up the fight. If he runs 6 inches, he can get within 3 inches of objective 1. And of course, the Guard are fielding a combined arms attachment, so these Guardsmen have objectives secured, whereas in the Talon, the tactical marines do not. The Vendetta has also come flying over to try and take out the tactical marines as well. The plasma gun squad have moved back up to the top of the tower to see if they can take out the Rhino, just because they can, and these guardsmen are going to try and take out the final assault marine with his Flamer. The rest of the guardsmen in this building need to secure objective 4. Let's see how much firepower the Guard can still put out in their 5th shooting phase. End of Astra Militarum turn 5 shooting phase, and the plasma gun squad in the tower finally managed to take out the Rhino. Not much point, but they just wanted to take it out. The Vendetta shot down 2 of the tactical marines, but sadly the priest has obviously tired these guardsmen out. They only ran 2 inches, so they have failed to reach objective 1. And the lone assault marine with his flamer was shot down by the last plasma gunner in this special weapon squad, who, perhaps unsurprisingly, also killed himself in the attempt. So, let's see what objectives the Guardsmen have managed in their 5th turn. End of Astra Militarum, turn 5 and end of the game. In their 5th turn they managed to secure objective 4, giving them a point, which brings the final score to 8 points to the Raven Guard, 6 to the Astra Militarum. Very, very close game this. It could have gone either way. I think the Raven Guard were quite fortunate. They were a lot more fortunate than the Astra Militarum anyway with their objective draws. But it has been a great game, and I think if the dice had been a bit different, the Astra Militarum could easily have snatched victory. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, and we will be producing a lot more content for your entertainment. See ya!